Patrick Bet-David has been hustling since the age of 10 and recently sold one of his businesses for 9 figures. In this video, I'm going to look into his human design to understand what makes him so successful. When I walk down the street and hear someone whistling, it's something I definitely don't love. But anytime Patrick hears a high-pitched whistling noise, it instantly takes him back to Iran. Back when he was growing up in Tehran, things were unstable. Lucky for him, his parents took him away when he was just 10 years old. They managed to escape to a refugee camp in Germany. And that's where Patrick's entrepreneurial journey started, with a girl. Patrick really liked Katrina. The problem was she came with baggage. Her older brother was always hanging out with her. So to be able to spend time with Katrina, he realized he needed to keep the brother busy. The Super Nintendo had just come out, and Patrick knew if he could get a hold of one, it'd keep the brother away. The only problem was Patrick didn't have the 249 German marks to buy one. But Patrick knew he had to get one. So he cut himself a deal with the local swimming pool to clear out all the empty beer bottles. He saves the money up every day, and as soon as he has enough, he goes out to buy the Super Nintendo for Katrina's brother. It didn't even take him a month. The plan worked. He got to hang out with Katrina, and he proved to himself that making money is just a mindset. It was a short-lived romance though, because not long after that, Patrick's family moved to America. So Patrick's a born entrepreneur. He only needs 4 hours sleep a night, and he works so hard he makes Elon Musk look like a slacker. So when Patrick settles into school in LA, he gets his head down and works as hard as you'd expect a born entrepreneur to work. Which means he ends up in the bottom 19% of everyone in the country. So if you're ever worried about your exam results, just remember Patrick Bet-David. In fact, if you were to ask anyone who knew Patrick at school, including his mum, they'd all say he won't do anything with his life, which just goes to show what other people think means absolutely nothing. But on the plus side, Patrick was a hustler. He just wasn't an organised hustler. Looking back now, Patrick puts the reason for his success down to his time in the Air Force. They had him working 100 hours a week and hammered discipline into him. Which, if you think about it, discipline has been more valuable than his entire education at school. After a couple of years in the Air Force, he was ready to get started with his life. Back then, he thought that meant becoming the Middle Eastern Arnold Schwarzenegger, winning competitions, getting into films, and marrying a Kennedy. He starts off great. He gets a job at Bally's Total Fitness, able to use the weights in his spare time. He even becomes a top sales agent. But again, he gets distracted by a girl. This time it's in Venice Beach. She persuades him to ditch fitness and get into finance. Now that's a pivot. But when girls speak, Patrick listens. And after making 100 applications to banks, he gets a job at Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, the day before 9/11. And in the aftermath of the Twin Towers, the financial industry is a mess. And even though most of his colleagues leave their jobs, he decides to stay in the industry. He moves on to a company called Transamerica, setting up his own insurance department. And a few years later, he wakes up in the middle of the night with his mind racing and decides to leave his job to set up his own business. So in 2009, he sets up PHP with 66 agents and has never looked back. In 2012, he sets up the YouTube channel Valuetainment, because Patrick's never liked the way that a small handful of people run the media narrative. He's always wanted to show a more balanced view and also to put out content that supports entrepreneurs, because the best people to solve the world's problems are entrepreneurs. He sold PHP in 2022 so he can focus on Valuetainment and his app Minect, which connects you to experts. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more businesses on the way for him too. So let's take a look at Patrick's human design and see why he's created success in the way that he did. First of all, when I was looking for Patrick's birth details, he doesn't give an exact time. However, in an interview with Ray Couture, it turns out Patrick was born with Jupiter in Leo, Saturn in Virgo, and most importantly, he revealed he's a Leo rising, which narrows it down to a 2-hour window on the 18th of October 1978. So I've gone with a 2 a.m. birth time in the middle of the Leo rising window, and I'm confident this is accurate. Which it gives his chart looking like this. The first thing you can see is he's a generator. As a generator, you're designed to have consistent energy. You have a defined sacral center, the power center of all the motor centers. As a generator, you're designed to respond to life. You've got a really warm and open aura, so people will feel good around you and you'll draw everything you need in life to you. Patrick's a sacral authority. If you have a sacral authority when you're deciding if something's right for you or not, you'll have a gut feeling telling you. You'll know your decision instantly and won't need to think about it. You can listen for the sacral sound you make. Is it a or is it a It's good when speaking to someone else because you can listen for those sounds to get an idea of how they're feeling about something. His profile is a 4-6, which makes him the opportunist role model. With the conscious 4 line, you're a real people person. You've got a warm and inviting personality, which goes great with being a generator. You treat everyone with the same respect, and people love that about you. The beauty of the 4 line is that the people you have in your circle will bring you opportunities. And the more high quality friends you have, the more high quality those opportunities. No wonder this is called the line of the opportunist. The unconscious 6 line is known as the role model. And after about the age of 50, you do make it to role model status. Up until that time, though, you're not fully developed because you're going through all the experiences that are going to make you a role model. Think of it as you're a 3 line until the age of 30, going through life, learning through trial and error, getting as much experience as possible and learning from it. From 30 to 50, you start to stand back a little and think about things before rushing into them. And you start to see things with a new perspective. By the time you get past 50, you have a whole bunch of experiences and a perspective that gives you amazing wisdom. Wisdom that people around you will be grateful for. When Patrick wanted to recruit better salespeople into his business, what did he do? He turned to an astrologist. It's great that Patrick is so open-minded. You can see evidence for that in his undefined agenda. But Patrick is a self-confessed numbers guy. Relying on the numbers, he's removing emotion from making decisions and showing he's someone who wants the best outcome, even if it means he's wrong. Looking at his throat, he has gate 62 here, the gate of details. This gate means you want all the details and the facts. You use these to explain the best way forward to others, and they can't argue with the data. This gate also gives you the ability to spot things others don't. Plus, you've got the numbers and the facts to prove it, so it's a powerful gate. In its ajna, Patrick has gate 4, the gate of formulation. It means you seek the most logical solutions. And the best way of doing that for Patrick is through numbers. When you're up against friction, no one can argue against you when you have the facts to back yourself up. Also in his ajna, he has gate 47, the gate of realization. He'll constantly be thinking about how to find solutions to problems. And with gate 47 activated, you'll be able to turn confusion into answers. Also, Patrick has the gate 48, the gate of depth. It's a gate in the spleen, which means you have powerful intuitive wisdom. You're able to find a solution to any problem. As a side note, Patrick's spleen is highly activated with 5 out of 7 gates. So you'd expect him to have really strong intuition, and it's no surprise that having this gate activated gives you an extra edge when it comes to deep wisdom. Patrick talks about how he's always loved sales and negotiation. It's what lights him up. When he was starting out in sales, he noticed that although he was making good sales, none of his customers were coming back to him. He'd been getting sales, but was really focused on him doing well and not so bothered about who he was selling to. So he changed things up and started to look for win-win outcomes for his customers. It ended up with people trusting him more and coming back for repeat business. It ended up giving him a way higher lifetime value with customers, and today he's a natural selling machine with plenty of experience. And luckily for Patrick, he's got a few human design features that really help him out. Firstly, looking at his ajna, he has gate 43, the gate of insight. With this gate active, you'll be an expert at finding simple solutions to complex problems, and especially solutions which aren't obvious to others. This is a double activation for him, so it's important. Think about when a customer says they need time to think about it or they haven't got the money right now. Your gate 43 is going to give you a real advantage to find the best solution. Down in his spleen, he has gate 44, the gate of patterns. This is sometimes known as the HR gate because with this activated, you'll be amazing at understanding people and what they want. From a sales perspective, your intuition makes you able to read people's minds to see not only what they want, but what they need. Over in his G center, he has gate 25, the gate of innocence. If you have an undefined or open G center, that means you connect really easily with people. But with the gate 25 active, you'll be able to deeply sympathize with people too. They'll feel seen and heard by you because you understand them perfectly. The 25, 43 and the 44 gates give you the upper hand when it comes to sales and negotiation. But personally, I believe that sales is really just great customer service. So do I mind if someone can read me perfectly then sell me something that's going to add value to my life? I've got no problem with that at all. A few years ago, Patrick interviewed Dr. Caroline Leaf. I was really shocked because it looked like Patrick was trying to pick a fight with her rather than have a conversation. But what's amazing is that after that interview, Dr. Caroline Leaf said that it was amazing to have all her beliefs questioned and have someone go so deep into her thinking process. She said it was one of the best interviews she's ever done. So being antagonistic can be great for helping people really understand why they believe in something. And Patrick's no stranger to being the antagonist. In fact, his human design is well set up for it. First of all, in his G center, he's got gate 2, the gate of higher knowledge. With this gate, you're not here to work for anyone else. You're going to find it exhausting playing by someone else's rules. The G center is all about knowing yourself, and gate 2 is specifically about knowing your direction in life. So anything that gets in your way is going to feel like it needs to be destroyed. Also in his G center, he has gate 1, the gate of creativity. This is the gate of the artist. Always attracting attention to yourself for the individual way you do things. And you need to do things in your own individual way because the only way to achieve fulfilled success is by following your heart. In his solar plexus, he has gate 6, the gate of friction. With this gate, whenever you meet someone, you'll have your guard up until you make a decision about whether to let them into your inner circle. You might come across as a monster, someone who's difficult, but underneath, you're just a big softie. Since the gate is in the solar plexus, which is the emotional center, it's not surprising that you're careful with who you let in, so as not to cause unnecessary emotional pain. Connecting the spleen to the root is the 2838, the channel of struggle. It's a channel that means you'll do everything your own way, and not everyone is going to be okay with that. And I'll come back to this channel in a bit. What's funny about Patrick's chart is that he's got an undefined throat. Usually you might think of someone with an undefined throat as someone who doesn't have a voice. However, Patrick's not someone you'd ever consider to have trouble being heard. And the thing about an undefined throat is there can be a fear of going unnoticed. To compensate, you want to act, to argue, and to interrupt to make sure that you're in control of your audience. Another advantage to the undefined throat is that you'll easily know when people are being honest with you, which will work really powerfully when you have all the intuition and that a defined spleen gives someone like Patrick. Patrick left a war zone and went onto a refugee camp where he got his first money by picking up beer bottles. He didn't even speak the language back then. And that's what I call a survivor. Someone who makes the best of a bad situation. And in his case, he didn't just make the best of it, he thrived. Patrick has the 2838, the channel of struggle. It means you're born to fight. And as part of the deal, you must have something to fight for. And it has to be a goal that feels right to you. But once you've figured it out, you'll go after it with everything you've got. And what might look risky on the outside isn't something that feels risky to you, because once you're committed, you know you'll be fine. The channel is made up of the 28 in the spleen, which is always looking for purpose in life. Once you've found your purpose, you'll do anything to fight for it. At the other end of the channel is the 38 in the root, which is the gate of the fighter, which means you're fighting for meaning, and in your search, you'll start to understand yourself and the world more deeply. That's where you'll find wisdom. In his spleen, he has gate 57, the gate of the gentle. By trusting your intuition, you guarantee your health and wealth. You don't like to be dependent on others, and that makes sense because a defined spleen will give you an amazing intuition, so you're going to be better off trusting yourself. Also in the spleen, Patrick has gate 32, the gate of duration. You understand that the only constant in life is that everything changes, and anyone who doesn't feel that way must feel like the world is a pretty unstable place. Because of gate 32, you're very aware of what's going on in the here and now, and that means when it's time for you to make your move, you'll instinctively know the best time to do it. The last thing on the list is community. Like I said before, Patrick realised early in his sales career that sales was about delivering a win-win for everyone involved. Maybe each individual sale wasn't the best outcome for him, but over the long term, he knew he'd be better off. So this is a man who genuinely cares for others and their outcome. Not only does he care about how a sale goes, but he also had 35,000 staff at PHP and a huge following on social media. So it's fair to say community is important to him. Looking at his circuitry, it'll come as no surprise that his most activated circuit is his collective. He has 11 collective gates activated, compared to 8 individual and only 4 tribal. Patrick is someone who needs a community, and he'll serve them over and above his own needs. Probably the most important activation in his chart is in his will center. There he has gate 40, the gate of deliverance, and it's double activated for him. Not an unusually high number, but it's still a double activation, both conscious and unconscious. With this gate, you need a community. It's how you feel energized, and managing a community might seem like an exhausting task, but in return, you'll feel more energized than without them. Patrick says he only needs 4 hours sleep a night, and even for a generator, that's still not much sleep, so I expect this gate has a lot to do with it. What makes him really good at dealing with his community is his gate 25. This lies in his G center, the gate of innocence. It not only means you can deeply connect with anyone, but you'll also feel like you love and respect everyone, no matter what level they are or where they are in life. I remember Patrick talking about inviting a homeless man into an In-N-Out burger, and they sat down together to have a chat, and Patrick bought food for the homeless guy and anything else he wanted to take back for his friends. I always find it interesting to look at entrepreneurs with a big following to see if it's really in alignment for them or not, because if you're trying to grow a community and it's not aligned with your strategy and authority, then your community is going to exhaust you, and more importantly, it's probably not a group you genuinely care about. But if it's in alignment, you're going to feel even more energized, and that's exactly what I see when I look at Patrick. Patrick Bet-David is someone who literally came from nothing and has already created enormous success for himself. To anyone that's building a business and feels that other people have more resources than you, remember what Patrick's done. He's used his logical side as a numbers guy to make the best decisions. He's become a master at sales and negotiation, and he's kept going against all odds. I really hope you've learned something from Patrick's chart and the way he created success. I'd love to hear if you've got any similar activations to Patrick and how it's worked for you. Thanks for watching.